I'm talking to the camera. I'm going to make a video on tracking your macros. I believe in tracking your food as accurately as possible. And what I mean is, if you are eating a bone-in ribeye, you should search for a bone-in ribeye in your MyFitnessPal, Carb Manager, Fat Secret, Chronometer, whatever app you're using, because that will probably equate for the bone. If you're eating your food raw, then log it as raw. If you're eating your food cooked, then log it as cooked. If you log your food raw, but you're consuming it cooked, this is not accurate. Example, I made spaghetti and meatballs yesterday. My spaghetti is made with Miracle Noodle. And it's a dish that I don't make a lot because Tyler does not like garlic. But I asked him permission and he said, okay. So it was amazing and I'm making it again today. I started out with 2 pounds of ground elk from North Star Bison. By the time all was said and done and I made all my meatballs and cooked it, I literally had a little over 1 pound of cooked meat to consume. And I used a scale because I wanted to make this video and I wanted to make an example, and it's a really good example. But this happens all the time. If you buy fat trimmings and you get a pound of fat trimmings from the butcher or whatever, Billy Doe Meats, and then you log it as, you cut that in half and you plan to eat half of it, okay? And then, so you put it in MyFitnessPal, half a pound of fat trimmings. But then you go and cook it, you're going to have way less than half a pound of fat trimmings, I promise. You're going to have way less. So you are inaccurately tracking your macros. You are either overestimating or underestimating based on what you're logging. It's really important to be as accurate as possible. That is basically all this video is about. I know that some people will say, oh, well, you should log it as raw because raw meat is the most consistent in macros because it hasn't been cooked. And when it's cooked, it changes. And that's my point. You don't want to be logging something that you're not consuming. The whole point of tracking macros is to track what you're putting in your mouth, is to track what you're actually consuming. So only track what you're actually consuming, period. If you don't track macros, but you want to get a ballpark of what you're consuming, generally speaking, 1 tablespoon of fat is around 10 to 12 grams of fat. A couple ounces of meat, maybe 2 to 4 ounces of meat, depending on the type of meat, is around 20 grams of protein. Eggs are usually 7 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat. Egg yolks are 5 grams of fat, 2 grams of protein. Ribeye steak is 1-to-1 fat to protein. Bacon is 1-to-1 fat to protein. And these are all things that I know because I've tracked. You don't know these things unless you look it up and you learn for yourself. And so you could always just have these ranges and guesstimate, but I think there is value in tracking. And I have a video on tracking macros with more detail on this. But I really just wanted to make a video about logging your food, how you're actually consuming it, because you are losing weight, you're losing substance in the cooking process. So you don't want to be overestimating or underestimating. This is critical. And that's that about that video. I do want to just share a brief message, not about the topic. So if you're not interested in my rambling, then you can just stop the video here. But I wanted to just share that our first retreat at our homestead was just better than expected. It was amazing. The group was absolutely incredible. Our neighbors were involved, and that was just such a blessing. They're such wonderful, amazing people. God couldn't have been more intentional about where he picked us up and placed us. And it just feels so good to be able to do what he has called us to do. So we don't know when our next retreat will be, but I will be sure to announce it when we know. And if you want to be notified before the general public, then you can email me at rebecca@tailoredketo.health, and I will send you a notification before I post it on YouTube and Instagram. But I'm really excited. Really, really, really excited. And that's all. Have a great day.